think it's easy to forget sometimes, but at its heart, the GTA series is about stealing cars. I mean, it's called Grand Theft Auto, and the very early games, I'm talking GTA, GTA 2, GTA London, so on, they're basically all about driving. But despite all that, so far, there have only been really a few ways of stealing a car in a GTA game. One is smashing the window and setting off the alarm. Another is opening the door if the vehicle just so happens to be unlocked. And of course, in both these cases, you have to then hotwire the car to get it to run, which can sometimes take a bit of time. Obviously, if the alarm's going off too, that can raise suspicion. But you can also steal cars on the street that are being driven by dragging out the driver, or you can threaten them with some kind of weapon. And depending on the driver, as we know, they sometimes fight back or even chase you down the street or cling onto the door or something like that. But it seems like things are going to be a bit different in GTA 6. And this is something I sort of touched on in a video I did a few months ago called The Weapons and Tools of GTA 6, which I will link here, and you should definitely go back and watch that if you're interested. And in that video, I talked about some of the weapons and the tools, obviously, that were probably going to be in GTA 6 based on what we've seen in the leaks. So I wanted to talk a bit more about some of the tools that we saw in the leaks, which seem like they're probably going to be used to steal vehicles. Now, that's not to say that the current way, I suppose, that we do things by smashing windows and dragging people out of cars on the street won't still work. I imagine that will continue also. I just think there will be more options and more ways to steal a car. First of all, we have the lockpick. This was in the leaks. Now, this might not necessarily be used for stealing cars. This might just be for breaking into buildings and so on, as is used for lockpicks. It might be for like breaking into safes or something like that, but it could potentially be used on maybe older cars. However, we also saw that there's going to be a Slim Jim. Now, this is hard to deny that this will be used as a way of stealing vehicles, because the sole purpose of a Slim Jim is to open car doors, particularly on older vehicles. You've probably seen them in films and TV shows where these are kind of slid down the side of the window of the car, and then they wriggle it around a bit and pop. There's a popping sound and the car is unlocked and the door can be opened. Now, as for the newer cars, it looks like there's going to be something called an immobilizer bypass. Now, I'm not entirely certain what this is, but an immobilizer is a security device in cars that stops them from being opened or started unless the right key is being used. So if this is an immobilizer bypass, it's a way of bypassing that. So it seems like this will be a way of effectively unlocking newer vehicles in order to steal them. These kind of tools are actually real, and they're used in real life by criminals. And I could definitely see this being used in GTA and working in GTA, especially if you need to, say, think back to like those Franklin Simeon missions. If you're stealing a car, and a high-end car, a luxury car, and you don't want to damage it, so you don't want to smash the window, and you don't want to alert anyone, so you don't want to set off the alarm, something like this could be a way of doing that. There was something also in the leaks called an auto dialer. Now, I don't know what this is, and I can't really, despite all my research, can't really work out what this is and what it does. And I don't know if it's related to cars at all. Auto, could be related to cars, or could mean automatic, could mean lots of things. But if you do know what an auto dialer is, the only thing I could find is that something that kind of automatically dials a phone, which is used by scammers. So, I don't know if it's that or not. Doesn't feel like it would be that, but again, your guess is as good as mine, probably better. So please let me know. And there's also, in the leaks, we saw a tracker jammer. Now again, I don't know exactly how this could be used, but my thinking is that it stops the car from being tracked. If you steal a vehicle, maybe enemies won't be able to track you, or maybe the police won't be able to track you. And so this is something that you'll have to use to avoid attracting police attention or attention from enemies and so on. I don't know for certain, but that just seems like what it probably would be. Overall, I think these new tools are a really great way of providing a bit of variety to the way we steal cars in GTA games, especially considering that's such a big part of it. I mean, imagine if we have the choice to kind of quickly but loudly smash a window and set off the alarm, or quietly and methodically pick the lock with a Slim Jim, but maybe that takes a bit longer. If we're doing it stealthily, it might be better, but if we're under fire, maybe not. And of course, it depends on which type of vehicle. Maybe Slim Jims don't work on newer, luxury, high-end vehicles, but the immobilizer bypass does, and vice versa for older cars. There's also just one thing I wanted to point out quickly, and that is something I've noticed in GTA Online, and that is that a lot of the vehicles the original vehicles that have been released in the past don't have visible keyholes in the doors. Now this might seem a bit mad, but if you go and look at some of the older vehicles, and I'm not talking about kind of era, classic vehicles or anything like that, I'm talking about the vehicles that have been in the game for a long time. Most of them don't have visible keyholes in the doors. However, the ones that have been added more recently all have keyholes in the doors. And this is something we can also see in the trailer for GTA 6. There's this scene where you see the guy with the nice kind of sparkly paint job on his car, and he's standing up. And if you zoom in on that door, you can clearly see there is a keyhole there for the car key to go in. So this might be absolutely nothing, could very well be absolutely nothing. Or it might just be a way of making the cars look a bit more realistic, and Rockstar are known for their attention to detail, so this could very well be just that. But it could also signify that there is going to be new ways of stealing cars, which is what we seem to think is going to happen, and what seems to be the suggestion from the leaks. And thinking about it, something like this is long overdue, and I'm really excited to see how it's implemented in the game.